I got it done. In their first week, they terminated it. Check that one out. Bagram. Check that one out. Think about this. Between Bagram, between you go to Anwar, you take a look at the kind of things that we've given up. We should have that air base. We should have that oil. We would have had a whole different country. But to give up Anwar, to give up the biggest air base, military air base in the world, and they left it in the dark of night with the lights on, and they did leave the dogs behind. There are a lot of people, they say, what about the dogs? They left the dogs behind. But we would have been a much different country right now. But we're going to get it back, and I promise you we're going to get it back with guys like this and people like that. And Sarah, just one thing, because this is the world's longest answer to an otherwise simple question, but the difference is I give an answer that's productive as opposed to an answer that is not very productive, right? Like in the debate. But just to end this, we are going to, for Michigan, because we want to be a little bit Michigan-centric. You used to be the capital of the world in cars. Today, you're an afterthought in cars. And I don't know the head of your union. I've never met the gentleman, Sean. I've never met him. But what he's done to your union and what he's done by agreeing to allow this country to say we're going all electric, which at some point they're going to end up taking back that mandate because that mandate is insane. They want to go all electric basically by 2030. And for him, think of this, for him to do that, just real fast, you're right now at 25% of where you used to be and heading south because the electric cars are all going to be made in China and Mexico, but they're all going to be made basically in China. We are going to bring so many auto plants into our country. You're going to be as big or bigger than you were 50 years ago because they won't be able, if they're not willing to build a plant, we don't want their product. And that's enough. That's all I wanted. And it'll happen fast. It'll happen very fast.
I think it's safe to say that Michigan is happy that you're going to be president again. And Mr. President, we don't mind that you give long answers because you actually have something to say, because you actually got something done when you were president.
You know, it's very interesting because she said, I don't think I've ever said this before. So we do these rallies, they're massive rallies. Everybody stays till the end, by the way. You know, when she said that, well, your rallies, people leave. Honestly, nobody does. And if I saw them leaving, I'd say, and ladies and gentlemen, make America great again, and I'd get the hell out, okay? Because I don't want people leaving. But I do have to say, so I give these long, sometimes very complex sentences and paragraphs, but they all come together. I do it a lot. I do it with Raising Cane, that story.
Bridge, I'm voting Trump, too.
Story on the catapults on the aircraft carriers. I do it with a lot of different stories. When I mention Dr. Hannibal Lecter, I'm using that as an example of people that are coming in from Silence of the Lambs. I use it. They say, it's terrible. So they say, so I'll give this long, complex area. For instance, that I talked about a lot of different territory. The bottom line is, I said the most important thing. We're going to bring more plants into your state and this country to make automobiles. We're going to be bigger than before. But the fake news, there's a lot of them back there. You know, for a town hall, there's a lot of people. But the fake news likes to say, oh, he was rambling. No, that's not rambling. That's genius when you can connect the dots. You gotta now, Sarah, if you couldn't connect the dots, you got a problem. But every dot was connected and many stories were told in that little paragraph. But there is something, but they say that. The other thing I say is this. We had 107,000 people show up in New Jersey. We had 68,000 people show up in Alabama. We had 79 or 81,000 in South Carolina.
Thank
They
you.
never said I'm a great speaker. And I said, am I a great speaker? They say, oh, no, he rambles. What the hell are all you people showing up for if I ramble? You don't want to show up for a rambler. So anyway, thank you very much.
Mr. President,
Rich, thank you. Patriot,
no one
thank
has
you.
done more to fight for the American worker than you, to bring back jobs and manufacturing to this country. Tonight, there's obviously a lot of people that really care about the auto industry here. And tonight we have a
Thank
question
you.
from one of the auto workers, Isaiah, here in the audience that would like to ask a question.
Train. Hype train.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you.
We'll build a brand new beast. We're going to build a beast right here.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Mr. President, for having us here tonight. I just want to let you know that I've attended one of your
Scott,
rallies.
thank you.
I did not leave early, and I did not fall asleep. Just want to let you know that, sir. I did not do it. I did not do it. I didn't see anybody else doing it either, sir.
Oh,
My
Twitch
name is
not doing
Isaiah.
their
I'm a
thing anymore?
third-generation UAW worker, working hard to build trucks here in America. Yes.
Doom. Thank
You're
you.
going to be doing plenty of it.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. I work for Ford, and you actually came and visited the plant that I work at. That's right. You did. And my question to you, sir, is what do you see as the major threats to the future of
I'd like to
Michigan
change that
manufacturing,
Streamlabs
auto working jobs, and what
has
will you
like
do
your
to
name
eliminate
has
those
cheered
threats?
2,000 bits.
Okay, so
Should
I'll
thank
get
thank
into
you.
another
It
little
should
bit
say
of a
thank
long
you.
answer, because when you say major threat, to me we have one really major threat. That's called nuclear weapons. We have other countries that are hostile to us. They don't have
not
to be
that guy,
hostile
pal.
to
Trust
us.
me.
I always
You're
say,
not
have a
that
small
guy.
president, you'll never have a problem with
I can
China,
be that
Russia,
guy.
or any of them. Okay. I got along great with
Thanks
Putin.
for the
I got along great with
level
President
4 hype
Xi. I
train,
got along
guys.
great
Thank you
with
so
Kim
much.
Jong-un of North Korea. Everybody said, oh, you can't get along with him. He liked me. I got along great with him, and he has a lot of nuclear force. But you essentially have 5 countries, and you're going to have more. Whether you like it or not, you're going to have more. It's the single biggest threat to the world, not only Michigan, to the world. And you're not going to care so much about making cars if that stuff starts happening. And we have people that are not good at negotiation. The war should have never happened. President Biden, I want to be nice. He was so nice to me yesterday, but in one way, I sort of wish the call wasn't made, because I do feel he's so nice. I'm so sorry about what happened and all that, but I have to lay it out. We have very important, and the same with Kamala today. She could not have been nicer. But the fact is, we have to have people that are respected by the opponent, by the other side, by other countries that have this. Even Pakistan has nuclear weapons. We have countries. India has a lot of nuclear force. We have countries that have tremendous
See if that
nuclear
worked.
power. And when I hear these people talking
It should
about
change now that
global warming, that's
next
the
time
global
somebody puts
warming
bits
you have
in.
to worry about. Not that the ocean's going to rise in 400 years, 1/8 of an inch, and you'll have more seafront property, right, if that happens. I said, is that good or bad? I said, isn't that a good thing? If I have a little property on the ocean, I have a little bit more property. I have a little bit more ocean. But the fact is that
Yeah, there it is. Dr. Scott, thank you for 100 bits. There you go. Perfect.
Than we've ever been. And the difference is, and I say this a lot,
Perfect.
this isn't army tanks going back and forth and shooting at each other. This is obliteration. The power of these weapons, and I'm the one that revived it, and I hated to do it, but we had stuff that was 48 years old. They didn't even know if it worked. We have incredible stuff. So does Russia. China has much less, but they're going to catch up over 4 or 5 years. It's the single biggest threat by far to civilization. And nobody talks about it. They talk about global warming. Used to be, remember? Used to be global warming. They changed the name. You know why? Because the planet's getting cooler now. So now what they call it is climate change, because that covers everything. See, climate change, if it gets hot, cool, these people, I don't know if they're for real, But if they're not, they're covered by the words climate change.
That's
If
awesome.
it gets cooler, that's good. If it gets
Thank you
hotter,
guys
that's
so
good.
much for
Global
that.
warming wasn't working so well.
Level
But the
5,
single
90%.
biggest-
Holy
okay,
crap.
Now let's assume we have a really smart president, and that's not going to be a threat because we have a lot of power. Doing business with China is a good thing, but you have to have a fair deal. Doing business with Russia, they have so much in terms of minerals and things. The size of their land mass is like 4 times bigger than the United States. The minerals and things they have, we can do great business. And you keep everybody happy. You can solve that problem. But let's talk about the local problem. The local problem is that you have countries stealing your business. Mexico is a very big one. Mexico, this year, we have a deficit with Mexico of $250 billion. Think of this. With Mexico, little Mexico, you think of it as a little innocent place. We're losing our ass to Mexico. China, you don't even have to talk about. We have over $1 trillion this year. I was charging them numbers that were unbelievable, and now he's
Thanks, Dave.
totally given up the ghost. And we're going to lose $1 trillion
Thank
in
you.
deficits to China. $1 trillion. That's not sustainable. We're going to turn it all around, and we're going to do it through taxation and tariffs.
Oh, I fucking
It will
hate
be
this
done in
level.
24 hours.
I don't know
and
what it
it'll
is.
Change the whole planet. Just so you know, Sarah, China became powerful because
like the
they
devil's
charge.
number
They
or
don't
some
call them
shit.
Tariffs. They call it a tax. They call
Hate
it.
it.
They don't call it tariffs. The word tariff is a beautiful word to me, but to a lot of people that don't understand, it's not a beautiful word because you have a lot of people that are paid off by these countries. They're taking care of these countries, and they don't care about destroying the United States. They want millions of dollars in fees and consultation, but we will, literally in a period of 24 hours, we can change the whole trading of the whole world. They've taken advantage of our country for years. I stopped it. I stopped so much of it. And then we had a focus on COVID, which a lot of people said was put in there for a reason. You know, it came out of the Wuhan lab, which I said right from the beginning, all of you know. It didn't come out of a cave. They said a cave. It didn't come from France. They blame France. They blame, I call it the China virus because I like to be accurate, you know? They call it the Spanish flu. They call it all different names when something comes from a country, except for China. We have to call it COVID. What the hell does COVID mean? The China virus. And a lot of people think they did that because they were not happy with me as president. I actually had a great relationship with President Xi. And in his own way, he probably liked me the most, but maybe or maybe not. I saw that Putin the other day endorsed Kamala. And you have to understand, these are major chess players. So when he endorses Kamala, he may say, well, I did that because I love you, and it's better to be doing it. So who knows? But he endorsed Kamala, which is a little unusual. I was watching, I said, that's interesting. I think that's a good thing, isn't it? It really is. But look, we have to turn it around, and we can. We're going to have a reciprocal trade tax. We're going to have so if China charges 152%, which they do in a car, if we sell a car made here into China, which you don't do because the tax is too high, they say to all your companies and to others, and to Elon Musk, who gave us, he is a great guy. He gave me the strongest endorsement, and he's a really wonderful guy. But they say to him, we don't want your car unless you build your plant in China. And there's nothing wrong with saying that. That's smart people say that.
Hey,
We
Cindy,
haven't
how you
said it
doing?
For many years. I said it. We have a lot of plants going up with Apple and other things. I said, you got to build plants. You don't build plants here, we're going to put the tariffs on your products coming in from China. So
Diaz,
quickly,
Rock
but we're
and
gonna
Roll
have what's
Lives.
called
How you
the
doing?
Reciprocal Trade Act. Now, I dealt with a senator.
I haven't
a very
been
good
on
senator,
YouTube in a
actually,
while.
But he knows nothing about trade.
Just so you guys know, I
said,
am on
"Here's what I
YouTube
wanna
right now,
do,
too."
Senator. I want to take the reciprocal trade. If they charge us 100%, we charge them 100%. He said, you mean they charge us, we charge them? You got me. How simple could it be? It was sort of cool because he doesn't care. He's a senator, doesn't care about trade, but you know. So we're going to call it the Trump Reciprocal Trade Act, or I'll leave the name Trump off as long as we do it. So when India, which is a very big abuser, he happens to be coming to meet me next week, and Modi, he's fantastic. I mean, fantastic man. A lot of these leaders are fantastic. You have to understand one thing. They're 100%. These people are the sharpest people. They're not.
What are we at?
a little bit backward.
53 seconds, level 6.
You know the expression, they're at the top of their
And we're at
game,
13%.
and they
You guys
use it
always
against
stop it on
us.
level 6, you
But
fuckers.
India's very tough. Brazil's very tough. There are certain countries, I can tell you every one. I can give you from
Then I'm
top
taking
to
my
bottom.
pants off.
China's the toughest of all, but we were taking care of China with the tariffs. So we're going to do a reciprocal trade.
Taking my pants off,
If anybody
fuck it.
charges us 10 cents,
Thanks,
if they
Bridge.
charge us $2, if they charge us 100%,
40 seconds.
250, we charge them the same thing. And you know what's going to happen? Everything's going to disappear, and we're going to end up having free trade again. And if it doesn't disappear, we're going to take in a lot of money. Okay? But you know, the biggest beneficiary, I believe, is going to be your state. And I won't say that to other states, I promise, about
9,
your state.
8,
You are
7,
going to have plants
6,
built at a level that you
5,
haven't seen in
4,
50 years.
3,
Okay?
2.
Great question.
Thank you guys for that. Appreciate you.
Mr. President, one of the other things I think that you did that helped protect the American worker as much as anything else and also make our country and our community safer was you actually did something about the border. Just this month, there was a
was
woman
awesome
in my home
support.
state
Thank
of
you, guys.
Arkansas who was killed by an illegal immigrant who was drunk driving that was deported during your administration and came back under this administration because they have failed to protect our country. It's one of the great threats that we face that you actually did something about. Tell us what you will do on day one to help protect our
so
country.
we're going to be, day one, we're doing two things. Closing the border and drill, baby drill. Two things. We're going to get down the prices. Thank you. Nice people. I like this crowd. I like this crowd. No, this, you know what? You're smart people. So, Sarah.
Watchmen,
thank
right?
you. So,
If you're over on YouTube, make sure you hit that thumbs up button.
over the last couple of years, I've been talking about the border. I got elected in 2016 because of the border. But that border was peanuts compared to what this border is. That border was like a safe border compared. And I did it. I did a great job. And it also includes drugs, came to much lower. Look, unless you have the death penalty for drug dealers, you'll never get rid of the drug problem. Put that through your head, okay? Put that through your head. And I don't know if our country's ready for it. When I was with President Xi, and again, until COVID, I had a great relationship. Once that happened, I really didn't want a relationship because $60 trillion, millions of dead people all over the world. I was not exactly thrilled with him. But before that, I had a great relationship. And I said, do you have a drug problem? No, we have no drug problem. Oh, how come? Death penalty, immediate. I said, what does that mean, immediate? Immediate. We have what's called a quick trial. You know what a quick trial is? Like in one day, the trial is over. Over here, it'll be 25 years. They'll get some nice liberal lawyer, and they'll have it tied up for 25 years. The guy dies of old age. So, but they have a death penalty. In Singapore, they have a death penalty. In a lot of countries, they have a death penalty. You sell drugs because the average drug dealer kills during his or her life 500 people. The average one. The big ones, much more. But when you hear that, when people start to hear that, and I set up Blue Ribbon
Thanks, Spicy
committees,
Peach. Appreciate
nice
it.
people, dilettantes from New York and from Los Angeles, people that know nothing about drugs, and they're dealing with very smart people. These dealers are smart as hell. They're tough as hell, and they make a fortune. They make a fortune. And if you don't have the death penalty for drug dealers, you're just wasting your time. Now, we can keep it down, and we can do better than we're doing now, and a lot better than we're doing now, because what's happening now is out of control. But we had the lowest human trafficking, mostly in women, I hate to say, mostly in women, but we had the lowest human trafficking in 32 years. You know my favorite chart, the chart I put down. When I look to the right, that'll be my all-time favorite chart in history. That was basically a chart showing what a good job I did on immigration. But even if it showed I did a bad job on immigration, it will be my all-time favorite chart, because I wouldn't be here right now if I didn't look over. Let me see that chart. That was not good. My all-time favorite chart. Blue, yellow, red. It was beautiful. Oh, there it is. There it is. There, that was good. These guys are very good back. I didn't expect. That's a good. You know, the interesting thing, it's always on my left. It's at rallies. It's always on my list. I only do it about 15, maybe 20% of the time, so I don't do it much. And it's always at the end of a speech. But it's always here. For some reason, they dropped it here. It was at the beginning of the speech, the very beginning couple of sentences. And I turned like a deer bolting, I guess, right? They say good hunters say this. Every once in a while, a deer will bolt prior to the shot. And I don't know, I guess mine was a form of, but I turned around to look at it. It was right here, behind me, actually. And my head was at a perfect angle. It got me. But if you got to be hit, that's the best place. Although it's blood. The doctor, I said, how come so much blood? He said, the ear bleeds more than it. I said, I'll take it. I'll take it. But it was an amazing thing. And I have to say, because I have to, while we're on the subject, because people do like to talk about it. A few days ago, we had an incident. I have to say, Secret Service did a hell of a job. They really did. They caught. One of the gentlemen, one of the agents was walking a couple of holes in front, and he saw a rifle, AK-47. That's serious stuff, right? You know more about that. My sons know more about this stuff. But AK-47, that's a bad one. The other one was an AR-15. This was an AK-47. And he saw the barrel of the gun coming out from a bush. Can you believe it? This guy was all set. He was all set to do his number. And there was no talk. He didn't say, hello, what are you doing here, please? And he ends up getting shot himself. He took his gun, started shooting him. And this guy ran. No, great job. I don't know if he's, where is he? Not here, right? This guy, these guys do a great job. Now, they do need more people, and they've been complaining about that for a long time, but he did a great job. But you want to know another sort of a miracle? So the guy is now running for his life, and he's got a car a block away or whatever. And a woman, this is a woman, not a man, a woman, see? Women are smarter than men. I hate to say. How does that sound? Our great First Lady is very happy now. Let me just tell you, think of this. Who would do this? I actually asked, I was with the sheriff this morning, I was with a couple of people from Secret Service, who would do this? So you now have a man running, not with a gun, he dropped the gun, we found the gun, but he was gone. And a woman driving in a car saw a man on the street, pretty busy street, running, and she followed him. And he got into the car, and she stopped because she thought he was trouble. He looked different. He like trouble. She followed him. It wasn't very far, and parked the car behind his car
Bridge.
and started taking pictures of his license plate. Now think of it.
Remember, hit the thumbs up if you're on YouTube.
No, seriously, who would do that? It's
The women.
not from good or bad, not from, strength or heroism. No, just, you see somebody running. I see people running all the time. And you don't follow. She saw something in this guy that was bad. She may have heard maybe gunshots, because there were four gunshots. Actually, the shots, he never got off a shot. The shots were from Secret Service. But think of it. Who would do this? If you took 1,000 of these incidents, would even one person have done it? This woman was, I haven't met her, but I'd like to meet her. I'm going to meet her, I hope. But think of this. She goes in, she takes pictures of the plate, and then she sends the pictures into the sheriff's office. And the sheriffs are saying, wow, this is pretty amazing. And they were able to get this guy within 10 minutes. They had a high-speed chase on the highway. They got him. Otherwise, we'd probably have an AK-47. They had the camera. They had he had the whole thing. He was a sophisticated guy. He even had the serial number taken off the rifle, the gun. But think of this. So we'd have all this stuff. But I'd be walking around saying, I wonder where this guy is. Is he in this audience? We would have a maniac out there This woman was unbelievable because I actually asked the sheriff, if it happened 1,000 times, would anybody have done that? He said, maybe, but not much, not much. So she did she was really amazing, amazing job.
We're glad she did. I think there are a couple takeaways there. One, the women of this country love Donald Trump and are going to make sure we do our part.
Somebody grabbed the zero. Somebody grabbed the zero.
And I think one of the other things that we all know in this room certainly is that God is not finished with you and he has big plans.
Sarah, I just want to say one thing. So when I heard about this tonight, I said, so where am I speaking? Michigan, good. I like Michigan. I want to talk about cars. I love talking about the cars because it's so simple. It's so ridiculous that this is happening. You don't want the electric. You do want electric cars, 7%, 8%. Elon makes a great product. But you know what? And I've driven. His car is incredible. Other cars are incredible. But you have a little thing. But you want to have gasoline-propelled cars. You want to have hybrids. You want to have all sorts. They say a new one is going to be hydrogen. Who the hell knows? They said it has a slight problem. It blows up. And if you're in the car, that could be a little problem. But you want to be able to have whatever it is, whatever the market is and all that stuff. But they said, sir, you're having a town hall tonight. And I said, a town hall? What the hell? They want a rally. They don't want a town hall. Town hall? And I said, so who is the host? Because host or hostess. And they said, Sarah Huckabee Sanders. And I said, oh, that's good. I like that. But I figured, Sarah, you know, I love these rallies. You go and you say, we will make America great. Everyone's going crazy. We had one the other night. But you know what? Can I be honest? This was more fun than a rally today. This was fun. This was good, right? This was very good.
We're going to take another question from the audience. Maybe the only job in the country harder than being president of the United States is being a mom, especially under this administration, because they're making everything harder. And tonight we have a mom here in the audience, Barbara, that's behind us, that has a question for you.
Hi, Barbara. Hello back there.
Good evening. Good evening, President Trump.
Thank
you for taking our question.
Thank you.
My name is Barbara. I'm a mom of 3, a grandmother of 7, and 3 great-grands, a registered nurse, retired nurse. So I know the cost that goes into raising children and running a household.
Yeah.
People just can't survive now. How are you going to bring down the cost of food and groceries?
Good. Very good. Thank you. So we have to start always with energy. Always. I don't want to be boring about it, but there's no bigger subject. It covers everything. If you make donuts, if you make cars, whatever you make, energy is a big deal, and we're going to get that. It's my ambition to get your energy bill within 12 months down 50%. If I can do that, you've done a hell of a job. 5-0, not 15, 50. Interest rates are going to follow, and actually they're going to follow for another reason. The economy is now not good, and interest rates, you'll see they'll do the rate cut and all the political stuff tomorrow, I think. And, you know, will he do a half a point? Will he do a quarter of a point? But the reason is because the economy is not good. Otherwise, you wouldn't be able to do it. But we're going to get interest rates down, and we got to work with our farmers. Our farmers are being decimated right now. They're being absolutely decimated. And, you know, one of the reasons is we allow a lot of farm product into our country, and we're going to have to be a little bit like other countries. We're not going to allow so much we're going to let our farmers go to work. And I don't know if you remember, I love the farmers because, you know, I had many meetings as president. I have this gorgeous room with this beautiful table that seats about 35 people. And I was with the farmers. Usually everybody wants something. They all want subsidy. But I was with the farmers, and I think you might have been there, actually, Sarah. I said, look, fellas, we're going to get you such a beautiful subsidy, meaning I'm going to do things. And one of the people raises and, sir, honestly, we don't want a subsidy. This is the first time this ever happened to me. Everyone wants, they want money. They want to build windmills. We want money with these windmills. Anyway. But you know what? It was amazing. He said, almost tears in his eyes, they were getting decimated. We don't want a subsidy. We just want to play, you know, a fair, level playing field. And I said, nobody's ever said that. And I have many industries and many groups of people from different things. You know, they do all different things. It's probably the most dramatic I've ever seen. He didn't want anything. All he wanted was to be able to compete fairly. And the problem we have is other countries, they treat us very badly in that way also. They really are. And, you know, sometimes the worst countries are our so-called allies. I say so-called because in many ways they're not allies at all. They take advantage of us. They really take advantage. But we're going to do with the farmers. We're going to do what we have to do with the farmers. We're going to put our farmers. And do you remember the expression? When I was negotiating with China, China said, well, we're not going to deal with this because they never had anybody negotiate. They did whatever they want. They just took us like, you know, for a bunch of suckers. But I told the farmers it's going to be very good negotiators. You're going to suffer for 6 months, and then they're going to fold. And that's exactly what happened. They folded, and they agreed to buy $50 billion. You know, you might have heard the story. I said, how much? I went to the Secretary of Agriculture. How much did they buy? He said 15. I thought he said 50. So when they're ready to make a deal at 15 billion, I said, no, I want 50. That's what they've been buying. He said, no, it's 15. I said, you said 50. And he said, no, we said 15. I said, that's okay. Ask for 50 anyway. And we got it. We got it. And they buy a lot of our product. But so we're going to, it's just a great interest rates, energy, and common sense. A lot of it's common sense. Everything. You know, I like to say we're the party of common sense. We want to have a strong border. How about we want a strong, you know, all of a sudden they've changed. They didn't want any border. They said walls don't work. Two things work. What are the two things? Wheels and walls. You know, if there's a gorgeous computer down here. In about 2 weeks, it's going to be obsolete. A friend of mine is in that business. He hates it. He said, we come up with a new model, and it's the greatest. About 3.5 weeks later, the damn thing's totally obsolete. The only thing that never gets obsolete is a wall and a wheel. And the wall is what we're talking about now. And, you know, we built hundreds of miles of wall. We then added more than I ever said I was going to do. And then we had that bad election result, that disgusting result. And they never put it up. You know what they did with it? They sold it for 5 cents, and it was expensive wall. It was exactly what the Border Patrol wanted, with the anti-climb plate on top, which I always hated because I didn't like the look of it. But, you know, they demonstrated it. We had mountain climbers and a couple of drug climbers, too. These guys are amazing. They put 100 pounds of drugs on the back, and they go up the wall like it's nothing. But they couldn't get over the plate. So all of a sudden I said, okay, I'll put the plate on. I didn't like it. I liked it better without the plate, but it didn't work quite as well. So this is what we did. We had it. We had the best. We had a thing called Remain in Mexico. You don't have to be a genius to know. Remain in Mexico is a very good thing. And you think that was easy to get. I think Tijuana, Mexico was probably the fastest growing city in the history of the world. Okay, they had hundreds of thousands. They couldn't come in. When they got in, they let everybody pour into our country. The border, just to finish with the border, when I talk about energy, to me it's exciting, but to a lot of people it's not. But it gets exciting because we'll bring down your costs, all that. But what people want to hear, and I believe when I got elected, I believe it was the border that was the biggest thing, and I fixed it, and I did a great job. And I wanted to mention it in 2020, and my people would say, sir, nobody cares about the border. They don't care because I had it fixed. Now I got to fix it again. I believe the border is of the greatest interest. When you look at what's happening in Aurora, Okay, take a look at Aurora. When you look at what's happening in Ohio, the great state of Ohio, I love it. I'm way the hell up. I wish I was up 18 points in your state, but we are up. We are up. I think when people hear what I have to say, I don't know how you can possibly lose it. I'll tell you this, and I'll say this for Michigan. If I don't win, you will have no auto industry within 2 to 3 years. It'll all be gone. And I know you got a little bit of an increase. It doesn't mean that's the small stuff, because it's just a temporary thing, because you will not have any manufacturing plants. China's going to take over all of your business because of the electric car and because they have the material we don't. What we have is a thing called gasoline. We have gasoline. We have so much gasoline we don't know what to do. They don't have gasoline. So why are we making a product that they dominate? They're going to dominate. You will not have a car industry left, not even a little bit of a car industry. So, and you're going to have electric cars, but you're going to have 7%, you're going to have 9%, whatever it may be. And maybe someday the technology becomes so good that you can do more. I mean, you know, it's fine. But right now, the battery technology isn't there for long term. I always say, I love the electric car, but they don't go far enough, and they don't do well. You know, in Iowa, it was 20 degrees below zero when we had our great success in Iowa. We had a great, and there were cars all over the place. I said, what's wrong with those cars? They don't work well in cold, and they don't work very well in heat. But Elon's going to figure it out because he's great. He gave me the greatest endorsement. He figures everything out. Right now he's got other things to think. He's got to get a rocket up to get those 2 people out of there. I said, Elon, let's get going.
Remote witness, how you doing?
Elon to get the 2 people. Who would like to be up there right now saying we're coming back home maybe in February? So that was not so good. But Elon will solve the problem. He's great, great guy. And he loves this state, and he loves your whole,
when was the
everything
update,
you're doing
Curtis?
Here. And he's done a fantastic job. He really has. And if he didn't endorse me, I would not be saying that, okay? I wouldn't be saying that.
Thank you. We've got time, I think, for just one more question. When you were president, you built one of the strongest economies our country's ever seen. One of the ways you did that was by passing the largest tax cut in American history. We have a question from Willie, who wants to ask you something about taxes and what you're going to do.
Good evening,
Hi, Willie.
future President Trump. I'm a local contractor in this town.
He's a cool-looking guy, too. He's better looking than you.
Like software
I'm a local
update?
contractor in this town, and I live here my whole life. And I'm going to tell you, I'm kind of concerned about crucial Kamala's tax increase. Can you outline for the people what you plan on doing about taxes?
Great. It's a great question. Look, she's going to double up your taxes. She wants to terminate the Trump tax cut. Just that is going to lift up your taxes by 44%. Just that one move. And remember, I have it so that, like, if you're a farmer or a small businessman, you have no inheritance tax. They're going to give that up. They're going to give everything. You know, a lot of people don't realize. A lot of people didn't talk about it, but if you have a small business, if you have a farm someplace, a lot of farmers, they have beautiful land, but they don't have the cash, and they leave it to their children, and they're so proud of their children, and the children end up going bankrupt because they have to borrow money to pay off the estate tax. There is no estate tax, and that's something that nobody even talks about, but that's helped. That's saved a lot of families from having to sell their farm or losing their farm. But she's got one thing that's incredible, an unrealized capital gain tax. That will drive every business out of the United States. So what that is I don't know how they can possibly administer. The only ones that are going to make money are appraisers and accountants.
Oh, iPhone 18?
So they're taking
Oh,
the
18?
business, might
iOS
have not a lot of
18?
money, but it might have great land. And they're valuing it, and what was it this year compared to
Remote
next year?
witness,
You gotta
welcome,
put down a
brother.
value, and then you got to go out and
A
you have
brother
to pay
from
tax, even though
another
you haven't sold
mother.
anything. It's the craziest thing I've ever heard, and I don't know how any rich person or any person that's in business can even think of supporting her. It's the craziest thing I've ever heard. So, and they're going to raise the capital gains tax, Willie, a lot. Now, as far as regular, people are going to have to pay a lot more tax. Your taxes, she said, 70 to 80%. Some people will pay 70, 80%. You have to understand, a lot of these people are international business people. A lot of these companies are international. They don't care if they're here or someplace else. They go for the best deal. They go for their shareholders. if they raise the taxes like that, they go to other countries. You know who got a lot of our companies is Ireland. Years ago, they took our pharmaceutical industry because they gave them a better deal. They will leave our country. They will leave all those jobs that we created. And I want people to pay fair taxes and all of that. But she's going to be raising your taxes to 50, 60, 70%. And it's not sustainable. And even for the companies, if they have to pay too much, they're going to leave the country and you're not going to have any jobs. So we have to be very, very careful about it. We have to be very, very careful. And I have to tell you that this has really been an honor. This will be the most fun of any state because we're going to bring back an industry that you can do it. You know, we're going to bring back an industry. And mark my words, if for some reason some tragedy happens, because it would be a tragedy beyond the auto business for the whole country, I really believe that. If a tragedy happens and we don't win, there will be 0 car jobs, manufacturing jobs. It will all be out of here. And that includes South Carolina. That includes other places that are competitors of yours. You won't be making cars here anymore. You won't be making anything in our country
Unrealized
anymore.
capital tax
We're going to bring
gain
it all
is
back.
only
But the
for
one,
people
and I
with
say this,
money.
and I said it to another state the other night, and I said, this is not a good thing to say to another state, but I said, Michigan's going to be the most fun because you're so set up for
You said
greatness.
small businesses
All you need is somebody
and
smart at the
farmers.
top to say, you can't flood
That's
our market
less than 100
with
million.
cars. You just can't do it. And if I say you have to pay 100%, you know China pays a big, but I didn't do the big number yet. But if I say you have to pay 100 or 200%, it doesn't matter because I'm going to say second sense. I hope you don't mind this. However, if you build your plant in Detroit, or if you build it in Michigan, or if you build it anywhere in the United States for that matter, it seems to be the right location. But we're going to have more fun. So I'm telling them about Michigan, and I'm saying, you know, the story's getting a little bit long because I'm talking about Michigan. I happen to be in another state, but everybody loved it because they know you. You're recognized for this. We're going to get, now, they go from paying 100% tariff to paying nothing. All they have to do is build their factory and spend their hundreds of millions of dollars in your state. This will be like taking candy from a baby. It'll happen first, and you get the credit. I'm going to give you the credit.
Well, I don't think there's any question that America was better off under Donald Trump. And we know that it's going to be even better the second time around. Before tonight, I knew you were going to win the presidency. I had no doubt. Arkansas is going to come in huge. But now I know you're going to win Michigan by epic margin. Ladies and gentlemen, we need you to show up. We need you to vote because the future of my kids, your kids, our grandkids depends on whether or not Donald Trump goes back into the White House, and I know you're not going to let us down. More importantly, I know President Trump is not going to let us down because he's shown us time and time again that no matter what comes at him, no matter what the left throws at him, he's going to get back up and keep fighting for this country that he loves so much. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. Thank you very much. Thank you, everybody. Thank you, man. We'll see you. We'll see you. Thank you, everybody. Going to get them out, and it's an honor that you're here. If you'd like to take some questions.
No?
Questions.
On the debate, first of all, I know you've said that you will not do another debate. Some of your own Republican allies have come out.
To turn the microphone on. There we go. All right, I'm going to shut down the stream quickly. I just wanted to come on live for that. And then give me 2 seconds and I'll be right back, okay? I'm just going to shut down YouTube right now. Love you guys over on YouTube. Thank you.